Okay, cool. Yeah. Can it work? Charging. No man, that's the way you can mash me. Try and find a way to recover from this fast. Hey, Bifrost, Bayfrost. Good morning. It's still morning where you are, right? It's still morning here in Kingston, Jamaica. About 6 p.m. Wow, which country are you in? Belgium. Oh, okay. That's nice. I've never been to Belgium. It must be nice there. Not, Is that where Noel is? Mm. When it's not raining. I mean, I can deal with the rain. I unless it's thunderstorms, I'm good. I actually don't mind the rain. And I don't mind going out in the rain. Like some people think I'm weird for that, but I really don't mind. As a child, I used to enjoy walking home in the rain. So even this time of year, I would um, I did not have waterproof bags taken to school. So what I would do is I would take a garbage bag and put it inside my school backpack, and then coming home from school, if it looked like it would rain, I would tie that up nice and tight and walk home in the rain. Oh, it's cold. Oh, yeah, definitely not then. Yeah, cold and the rain is no. Yeah, running in the rain is a lot of fun. But cold, firstly, I get cold very easily. So it's cold is not much fun for me. And then cold and wet is not on my agenda. What's that title about? What title? What title do you mean? Title. Do you mean the title of the live? I don't remember. Oh, you know, firstly, tell me what title is up, because what happened is I had a title maybe from previous live. I'm not even sure when is the last time I went live on this channel, but I might not have changed it since then. So just can you tell me what the title is currently? Because sometimes when I go live, I might change the title and then I forget to change it back to something more appropriate. Oh, title. Eee. YouTube chose that. YouTube chose that. I did not choose that. Ah, that's a very strange thing for the title of the live to be titled. That's an error on my part for not titling, not placing a title when I was starting up the live. Can you help me be faster than lightning? Yeah, if I can coach you, if the best result you're going to get from working with me is if you are in front of me, meaning if I can coach you directly. If I can't coach you directly, the second best is if you're a coaching client of mine that I coach remotely. But I'm going to tell you what I've told everybody else that asks me this question. Yes, I can coach you remotely, but I don't coach for free. It is going to cost. Um, and I get a lot of people asking me online to coach them for free. I don't coach for free. It's gonna cost. Um, you can drop me a message on Instagram or TikTok, whichever of those platforms you're on. Um, at Coach DuWayne Campbell is the same spelling as this channel, and we can take the process from there. But if you're asking me to coach you for free, I'm never gonna do it. I don't have the time to coach anyone for free. Um, and I find if because everybody else that I coach, I'm paid to coach. Me coaching someone for free, I struggle with putting the effort in. So it won't work. It won't work. And it won't work for you either because you won't have anything invested. So I can help you be fast. I don't know about faster than lightning. But that process starts with you sending me a direct message inbox on Instagram or TikTok. And then we can take it from there. If it's for, and I know I'm belaboring this, but I get lots of messages from people about coaching them for free. I'm not even going to look at that message if this is where we're coming from. It's gonna be a waste of time for both of us because it's gonna end up in the same place. I'm not gonna do it. You're welcome, Alice Brown. If you are running a lot slower in races than practice, I can give you some advice on that. So Alice, sometimes it can be physical, meaning in practice you may be doing a warm-up that gets you fired up for training. So if you find in training the majority of your runs that are done well happens towards the end of training, your warm-up may not be optimal and you may need to fix the warm-up. If you find that you're steady throughout the entire session, then you warm-up is on point. However, the warm-up for competition needs to be shorter than the warm-up for training. Reason being, you want to reserve some energy for the actual competition. In training, because a part of the warm-up in training is to help you with your conditioning, it can be as long as the coach wants it to be and you want it to be. But for competition, you're gonna have to check the warm-up, short it a bit, and focus on the key areas. If you're doing that and you're still underperforming in the races, depending on the race type, you may have a poor technical model executing. You're supposed to have a race strategy going into every single race that you're rehearsing in training. So track and field is a performance. When you go to meet, it's a performance, just like ballerina prepares for the stage. It's a performance, and if you're rehearsing the performance well, you should go out and be able to execute it very, very close to what you are capable of doing in practice. If you can't, then the other thing that you can look at is your mental preparation. So if you're following the race model, your warm-up is on point, then you start to look at your mental preparation. Are you optimally um, prepared, excited to go out and execute your race or your performance? Are you feeling flat? You're supposed to feel a little bit nervous at least before each performance. If that's not happening, then you're gonna have issues. All right, so it can come from multiple different areas. The best advice I can give to you: take a look at the warm up, take a look at your race strategy, and if those are on point, just as I've outlined, then take a look at your mental preparation. Sometimes people get in their own way. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't. All right. Change the title while recording. I let me see. Reach. No, that's not it. I'm I'm not seeing any buttons that allow me to change while I'm typing. Laser in practices. Wait. Laser in practices. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Bifrost. Sir, I run 11.8 and I'm 13 years old. I struggle with holding my drive phase. Okay. I There are a number of things you can do for that, so I can give you some advice on that. If you're struggling to hold your drive phase, the first thing I would say is, how much power do you have during acceleration? Because the drive phase is not like a specific phase that you hold and then stop holding it and come up to run. It's basically the setup from getting out the blocks until you are upright and sprinting. So it should be like a free flowing transition from being at, let's say, 45 degrees to being fully upright, 90 degrees or perpendicular to the ground. And it should happen in increments. So each step may be 8 degrees change in your angle between your foot that is pushing on the ground and the ground itself. So it should change on each step just a little bit, 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 a little bit. That being said, you should not be holding a drive phase at an angle. You should be pushing the ground behind you as you gradually rise to upright sprinting. That's how it works. There is no holding of a drive phase. If you find yourself popping up very early within a race, check your setup for the blocks. You may need some additional work with what we call starting strength, meaning to get inside the gym to get stronger so that you can actually push at the angle out, push at a correct angle out the blocks, and you have enough strength left over to not fall flat on your face, because you're that's a whole different, from a biomechanics standpoint, that's a whole different set of requirements. Pushing out the blocks and pushing correctly out the blocks, meaning you're driving and pushing the blocks back, and having enough force and energy left each time foot touches down to not collapse into the ground. And then you want to look at your acceleration power. For acceleration power, there's a number of things you can do. You can start sprinting up hills, you can run with the sled, you can I don't like in particular, but it is still a possible thing you could do with running with the parachute, right, for resisted sprints. So you could try any of those. Short story: get strong in the gym through your squats, deadlifts, single leg squats, single leg deadlifts. Get real strong. That will improve your starting strength. Do your acceleration power training, sprinting up hills, sprinting with sleds, resisted sprints with stupid parachute thing, and ensure that your blocks are set up right. Make sure the angle on blocks are set up right. Right, because it's never about holding a phase. It's never about holding one single angle. It's a progression of angles. Okay. You'll try them out tomorrow for sure, and let me know how it goes. Right. Let me know how it goes. I know I can't coach everybody, but I would still like to be able to help. So if it's, I could give you advice and you could try it out and see if it works for you. Was asking for the previous question, what could be a difference in time since not every club use lasers and most time hands time. Oh, let me see if I can sort. Um, oh, that could be a difference in, oh, in terms of who is, how the timing is being on. Yeah. So automatic timing systems are more accurate. Hand times are less accurate, and dependent on who is timing you. So sometimes, um, if the coach is very amenable, meaning he likes the athlete and wants to see the athlete progress, he may give you a faster time, meaning he's more excited to catch your time and gets you a faster time out of an error, a bias towards a particular athlete, or a bias against a particular athlete, meaning you get slower times in training. For hand times, I tend to add 0.4 to 0.5, 0.4 to 0.5 seconds to whatever time I get. And even then, I find it's still not accurate. Yeah. Laser times or more accurate timing systems like the free lap will give you a better guidance as to how fast you're really running in training. So, I mean, with respect to that, it may be that you are getting faster hand times in training because the person who's timing you really likes you and really wants to see you progress, and out of excitement, they're giving you faster times and you're really running in training. So that's another possible cause. How much days in a week we should wear spikes? Okay, so the question you're asking is how many days per week should you be in spikes? And truly, that depends. It depends on the training phase. It depends on whether you're competing. It depends on how the program is structured. Some coaches, like in the background, whenever I have max speed days, like true max speed, I want my athletes in spikes. If we're doing block starts, I want my athletes in spikes. On conditioning days, not so necessary for us to be in spikes. We can do those in flats. And even sometimes during the competition phase, I will take you off the track and put you on a grass track to do your conditioning workouts, because that spares the lower leg and ankle from a lot of the pounding that happens when you're on a stiffer surface. So it depends. It depends on a lot of things, actually. There is no hard and fast answer to that question. Okay, you guys are asking fire questions today. What is your thoughts on the effects of fascia-related training on sprints and track and field in general? Man, y'all are asking some PhD level questions. Fascial training, it works. I think, unfortunately, just like and most people that get a shiny new toy, some coaches are beating the hell out of it. Fascial training is a tool in the shed that a coach can, and I think should use as needed to prepare their athlete. Overusing it is not going to help, just like if I were to overuse any other training modality. But definitely, I believe in it. Nervous system integration training, aka fascial training, that works along with how the various networks of tissue in the body are aligned, absolutely helps the athlete to sync up movements in a way that is more efficient. So absolutely, fascial training, 2 thumbs up. overusing overusing facial training, just like any other training modality that unfortunately a lot of coaches do, 2 thumbs down. I'll give you an example. um, Isometric exercises. um, since isometric exercises became a fad a couple of years ago, where I guess a lot of coaches have been introduced to it. uh, I've heard a lot of reports from athletes, that I've coached high school that are not overseas, that they're primarily just doing, the static holds, and I'm go like, yeah, 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 it's good, it works, and it's like, but sir, look at the program. This is what we're doing, and I go, yeah, it works. They're just overdoing it. All right, so just like anything else, it's good to use to help the athlete get from where they are to where they want to be, but overusing it, yeah, it's just as terrible as overusing any other training. It's just as terrible as having someone sprint every single day of the week. You use it when needed for who needs it, when they need it to, not all the time. That's what I thought. It takes time for a fashion to remodel. Exactly. They don't know how to really use it. These are things I think coaches who are not so experienced, or not so skilled, it's almost like you give them a hammer. And so because they've gotten this shiny new tool, a new hammer, they go and hammer everything. I can give you another example. Velocity-based training. When these new technologies came about for measuring the velocity of bar speed and limb speed, coaches were beating the hell out of velocity-based training. They were beating the hell out of velocity-based training because they had this shiny new tool that they thought would solve all their problems. Nope, it's just a tool. It does give you a lot of more insight into how well the sorry, I'm a little bit under the weather. It does give you more insight into how well the athlete is training and how well certain training elements are carrying over to others. But I think this is a flaw in coaching education, where people will go and do courses and they learn something new and they go back to their training group and just implement it poorly, eventually saying it doesn't work, instead of looking at it as through the lens of, now I have this additional tool, let us see who it applies to. Another fire question: can we use French contrast method in off season or in season? All right, so I think I know where this came from. I used a strength training example. French contrast I don't use very often, and I've gotten athletes to run fast without using it at all. Let me say it again, because I know there are coaches who live and die by certain methods. I collect these things just like little tools that are in my toolbox. I hardly ever use French contrast. So my answer to you is going to be, it depends. It really depends. It depends on how the entire program is structured. It depends on the health of the athletes, and in particular the health of certain tissues that you want to be modeling to help the athlete to execute that particular performance. Of course, it depends on the athlete. So I hope that I know when it comes to this method, it seems it's a very vague answer. But the truth is, I can't give you a better answer without knowing more about your program and knowing about the other variables. Because this method, even though I know it works, I don't implement it as a consistent training strategy. I may implement it for 1 or 2 microcycles for an athlete that I know needs it. And in general, I tend to use more the structure of my training. I structure it to reduce interference between training elements. So yes, the French contrast can help between using certain slow strength and then certain reactive elements on the same day, but knowing that athletes have other things to go on about in outside of training in their life, I don't want to give athletes something um, in the same session that is not necessary to be there. If I can structure the program in order to reduce interference and to improve transfer of training even better than having to contrast the things in the same session. Do you have any recommendation of lectures on running and the process of its development? I'm gonna ask a qualifying question. What do you mean by running? Because in my book, sprinting is all out maximum speed that you can move from point A to point B using, on your 2 feet. So sprinting is the all out max. Everything below that is running, and then running poorly is considered jogging. So do you truly mean running? Because running is, for me, is things below 95%. And in some instances, depending on the experience of the athlete, below sometimes even 85%. Because there are some people who can be going at 85% and they're going at a speed that is sprint speed for the majority of the humans on this planet. Okay, so you mean sprinting then? I do have a couple of videos on sprinting. I do plan to make some more, but most of what I know about sprinting, I don't gather from the internet. I hope that doesn't burst your bubble. Most of what I know about sprinting, I've gathered from experts. And I sift through it very carefully because I don't have time to start from zero. So here's what I mean by that. I question everything that I learn. So if I'm starting from learning from the absolute experts, people who have brought athletes to the World Championships and Olympics and had them medal, and I still question what they're telling me, meaning I never take it as gospel. There's no way I'm looking at just general resources on the internet for guidance, because outside of myself, I trust myself to only speak the facts on what I know. The majority of what is on the internet is marketing material. So no matter how educational you think it really is marketing material for that particular coach. And as someone who puts information out there, I always have to keep in mind, yes, this person is telling you some things that may seem new to you, may seem useful to you, but what they're really doing is marketing themselves as a coach. So I don't look to the internet for that. I would tell you to get around the best coach that you can find and learn during your training sessions from that coach. This is best information. This is the best guidance I can give you. Yeah. You need some type of patterned movement. Yes, you do. But I am not going to tell you to go look at online resources for that. I'm going to tell you the best thing you can do is to go and find coaches that know what they're doing. Wow, I get this question way too often. I'm gonna answer your question, Advic. Um, I'm going to answer. I want you to answer me first, though. Why is that important to you? Why is it important to know who is the best athlete that I've coached and their time? And there's nothing wrong with it being important to you. I'm curious as to why it's important. Okay, because I get asked the question a lot, and sometimes it has to do with credibility. Like people ask, well, you know, I'm you've not coached anybody to this level, so why should I listen to you? All right, so at the junior level, I've coached athletes that have gone 10.2, 10.1. At the senior level, I've coached athletes that have gone 10.0, 9.9. All right. Junior level, there are quite a few athletes that I've coached and I've worked with that have won or medaled at Pan American Games, World Juniors. So if you're talking about the fastest, Oblique Seville as a junior. If you're talking about the fastest as a senior, Emmanuel Archibald 9.9, I think 9.96. So, yeah. Those are the absolute fastest. Generally, the majority of the times, the athletes that I have that have the talent for sprinting, regardless of the event they train for, hit around 10.5 or faster at the junior level. And this takes seasons of work. This is not an overnight thing. Like you can't watch a YouTube video and then run fast. Which is one of the reasons why when people ask me about online resources, I always tell them I don't recommend athletes go down that route. My recommendation always is get around a coach that's competent, that knows how to do this, and follow their instructions and their guidance. There are no best spikes. Everything I tell you about best spikes is bullshit. There are no best spikes. I've had athletes run fast in just about everything. Last season I had an athlete run 10.50 in almost, the spikes were so stupid, it could have been like, it could consider it like a pair of socks that he was running in. I did 10.50. There are no best spikes. Yeah. Don't look to the spikes, look to your training and recovery. When the super spikes came in, the spikes with all these plates, initially I was at another school and the athletes couldn't even run in them. They couldn't even run in them because the mechanics of how they ran, it was different. It's different sprinting without those spikes with all the fancy things, and in spikes that have those fancy plates and rods and all these things in there. And then eventually when they figured out how to run in them, they barely ran any faster. So forget about the spikes. Train hard, train well, recover even better. It's the best advice I can give. Right? This is not about what spikes is best. And I know this is not popular opinion. I know if I did like those types of content where I say, oh, these are the best spikes, this from Adidas, this from Nike, this, it probably gets a lot of views. And I might actually do a video like that. But this is not, I tell you the truth, the spikes don't matter. Yeah, the spikes don't matter. When you're fast already, then the spikes give you a little bit of edge. And let's just entertain the thought for a little bit that a spike will make you run significantly faster. Immediately, on discovery that there are certain spikes that make people run significantly faster without any additional training. World Athletics is going to ban that spikes and make all your results null and void. That's not where you want to go. That's what happens every single time. If a pair of spikes comes out and everybody just runs significantly faster in them, World Athletics is going to investigate those spikes, make a determination, and usually they end up just banning them, and whatever result you ran in them is null and void, and you end up having to go back to regular spikes. So focus on your training, focus on your recovery. Now you guys have some fire questions today, man. And guys, I know what I'm telling you is not popular, but hold on. These guys that have told you all this popular internet advice, they've never coached anybody fast. They've never coached anybody fast. And if they have, they've never consistently coached anybody fast. So there's a huge difference between people who are very good at content creation and people who are very good at actually getting people to run fast. I'm trying to do both, but I don't have the time to really become a great content creator. So most of the times I just hop on here and try to give you guys like the best advice I can. And if people take that advice, they will advance. And if you don't take the advice, well, at least I tried. When you say online resources, which one I don't. Let me just go back for context. All right. I don't recommend any online resources for learning about how to sprint. I don't. I say that with my whole chest. I don't. How many times should we train in the day? It depends. Young athletes train once per day. More advanced athletes, twice per day. There's no set formula for how many times you train per week. There is none. It's going to depend as well on your training age, your fitness level, what is available to you, what type of training are you doing, a whole bunch of variables actually. So younger athletes once per day. Younger athletes, so if I have kids that are 11 years old and younger, they're going to train 4 days per week, no more. It's not necessary, especially what I have is a system for training that is designed to help the athlete run fast when it matters. So my 11-year-old and younger are typically only training 4 days per week, once per day. Older athletes, say 12-year-old to maybe 14, 15, will train 5 days per week, maybe 6 days per week. But the sessions are not all hard training, which is why I say it depends on what type of training you're doing. Some sessions are just absolutely recovery sessions. And I tend to give midweek breaks, days where they either don't train at all or all they do is warm up and stretch. And then more mature athletes, 16, 17, 18, that are very mature, have good training age. If they've been training for a long time, they can go 6 days per week. Yeah, so there's lots of different ways that you can put together training cycles and training programs. There is no hard and fast. Yeah, my general philosophy on strength training or weight training for young athletes is I trust myself to teach people how to lift. So if I have a young athlete, I trust myself to teach that athlete how to lift properly. And they can be in the gym learning how to lift. There are very few other people that I trust to take athletes into the gym. It is entirely safe if you have a good coach, like a very, very good coach, very knowledgeable, very skilled coach, to take a young athlete into the gym. And young athletes can strength train. However, my philosophy is I do a lot of bodyweight strength training early in an athlete's career or training development cycle, and very few days of gym work. And then as they progress, I will expand the amount of resistance training that they do, because what I want first is that coordination of limb movements at slow speed first, that intramuscular coordination to be developed unhindered and unencumbered by the other things that come along with strength training. So primarily young athletes, and this doesn't just apply to age, but it also applies very much to training age. So not just their calendar age, but their training age. They always start with very general forms of training, including bodyweight training, and then progress to moving external resistance in the gym and outside the gym. So I hope I answered that question, but just to recap, there is no too early if you have a very qualified to know a very good, knowledgeable and skilled strength coach. There is no too early. But you may not have access to that. And even then, my philosophy is body weight first, always first, and then we progress to inside the gym. Yeah, man, you're welcome. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, Advic. Again, I know this is not the stuff that you want to hear. Most people want to hear something else, but you know, partially I can always back up what I do. I can always back up what I say, both with evidence and performance of athletes over time, not just in season. Because yes, I can put an athlete in the gym that's young, that doesn't know how to move well, and strengthen them up and have them run fast soon, early in their athletic career. But the thing I pride myself on most is being able to have athletes that continue on even after they move away from me, to move on to another coach, to move on to the collegiate, to move on to the professional ranks, and they can continue to improve because the foundation is set properly. So, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, you're right. It's very important that the athlete moves well. Before you're adding significant external load to the body, it's very important that athlete moves well. So, a lot I have athletes who say, "Coach, I wanted to quit and I hated training. But after going through all of those bodyweight circuits and learning how to move properly, then I realized my performances became so much easier. Yeah, you're exactly. Force the core and have great coordination. You have to. You have to. I have a strength, uh, not core, but a general strength program that through maybe the past 10 years I've been working on. I've used with all my athletes from many different sports to help improve their coordination and strength. That is now available on the Trend Heroic platform. I think you could look it up and find it fairly easily because I use all the same profile pictures and I'm Coach DuWayne Campbell everywhere. So that I think maybe is $19 for the entire program on a Trend Heroic. You can check it out. Try it out. I know it works because I have lots of experience validating that it works. Um, and it's available. Like I'm really not gatekeeping anything really and truly. If you want to follow it, you can look it up. Um, See if it can work for you. And you'll be supporting me. Yeah, I mean, like, you're not gonna get rich selling, like a general strength program because everybody thinks they know how to do general strength. Um, the truth is, maybe not so much, but that program is out there, and I do charge for it because I don't believe in coaching for free. And um, but you can check it out. Student slash intern. I can't. Well, actually, I can take students, but it would have to be under very strict circumstances. So, yes, I could. Um, and it would most definitely have to be with my high school team and not with uh, the university team because the university has its own guidelines. Yeah. So if you're interested to learn, intern, whatever, the best thing I could say, look me up on Instagram and send me a DM. It's the same at Coach DuWayne Campbell, same spelling. Um, you will know you're messaging the right person because I use the same photographs everywhere. Yeah, coaching is free. Coaching for free is just to sell something. Always, always. Because coaches gotta eat. So they tend to offer something for free with the hope that by helping someone, then they will purchase something, maybe even not now, but maybe later on. Because I remember when I coached a lot of people for free when I was learning how to coach. Um, and they referred people to me that would pay, you know? It's a business. You're trying to make a living to pay your bills, and no matter how much you love it, if you can't pay your bills, you're gonna have to leave and go do something else. So yes, most coaches do have a product or a service that they offer in order to be able to survive. The truth is, even in the costing of that product, they are not making any money. There's no significant money to be made. It's pretty much just covering bills. No problem. Again, just keep the link. You can follow me on IG, follow me on TikTok, and DM me so I know who I was talking to, and just keep the link. Yeah, sprints are the best. Sprints are a way for you to stay young. you know. It's a way to improve your overall body composition, testosterone production, youthfulness, everything. I probably should take some interns. But I don't. Outside of my high school team, and even then, like I'm very selective about who I bring around because these are kids, underage kids. Majority of my kids in my high school are like 12 to 16. I'm very careful and selective about who I bring around them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I can tell you, the masters I'm doing currently has to do with a lot to do with coaching and how to improve coaching practice. So yeah, this is exactly where I'm heading to in terms of my progression as a coach. Is to help other coaches um, to improve their own coaching practice. Because the truth is, there's only one of me, and I have a lot of ideas and a lot of um, wisdom from all the years that I've been coaching. I don't want that to die with me. I'd love very much to pass it on to other people so that they can impact kids' lives in a positive way. Um, it's just that, as I said earlier in the live, I can't do it for free because then if I keep doing it for free, I'm gonna have to leave and go to another profession. I won't be able to pay my bills. But ultimately, that's where I'm going as well. So as I said, keep the link. If there's anything I can do to enhance your journey, um, if I can even point you in the direction of other people that I've learned from that you could benefit from working with, um, I have no problems sharing. Yeah, yeah, I agree 100%. Mm-hmm. All right, you're welcome. Thank you for being on the live. Make sure you're following. And I guess when the next set of videos come out, then you will see I do have a lot more information to share that is helpful for athletes and that can help to broaden their understanding so that when they're with their coach, they will go, oh yes, I heard this before, and they'll be more receptive. All right. But thanks for being on the live. And like I said, just keep the link. If you need anything else, reach out to me on the other platforms that you can send direct messages. Um, and we'll talk another time. All right. Awesome.